What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. We're gonna be reacting to a video based on the life of Lloyd Avery II. Now, if y'all don't know who Lloyd Avery is, if you seen Boys in the Hood, then you seen when Ricky got shot. It was the guy who actually shot Ricky. Now, he always been viral because he always been handsome. He always been a handsome guy. He had went viral because his story is very, very interesting. I never really knew his story. I knew that he went to prison and got killed in prison, but apparently there's actually like a real backstory on like everything that he ended up being involved in. And I love stories like this. I love going down a rabbit hole, learning new things about or new interesting things about stuff that happen to people. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this reaction about Lloyd Avery's life, I guess. And I've never seen this. This is on Hood Politics. Hopefully they don't copyright this video.
Welcome to Hood Politics. In this episode, I will be discussing the story of Lloyd Avery II.
Lloyd Avery II. My apologies.
The facts of the case are as follows. The 1990s was the era of hood movies. South Central, Juice, New Jersey Drive, American Me, Fresh, Blood In, Blood Out, Above the Rim, Tales from the Hood, and Menace to Society are all classics in the genre.
Before we get started, I would just like to point out that hood movies is actually my favorite kind of movies. Like, that's like my favorite genre of movies. I've seen every hood movie ever made. Like, even old school mobster movies. Like, I've seen them all. I love hood movies. This is my favorite genre of movies. Like, I could watch these movies over and over and over and over and over. I don't care how many times I've seen them. Especially hood movies that's from Cali. Like, any type of LA hood movies, Long Beach hood movies. Any hood movies from Cali, we got the best hood movies. Like, I love California hood movies, bruh. Like, for real.
Of all the hood movies, only one reigns supreme, Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood is a coming-of-age story.
Top 2 favorite hood movie, especially from California. Menace to Society is like my all-time favorite, but Boys in the Hood is right after it for sure.
About a group of friends trying to navigate the streets of South Central Los Angeles, whether positively or negatively. The 1991 film put South Central Los Angeles under a microscope and gave the world an idea of what everyday life was like. The film was directed by John Singleton in his directorial debut, and it stars Ice Cube as Doughboy, Cuba Gooding Jr. as Trey, Morris Chestnut as Ricky, Lawrence Fishburne as Furious, Angela Bassett as Reva, Nia Long as Brandy, Regina King as Shalika, and a newcomer named Lloyd Avery II, who was...
Everybody, like, this movie was so powerful, like, and everybody in this movie, like, was just so amazing and just played their part to the T, regardless of if they was from LA or not. Like, you wouldn't even know if they was from LA or not. You would think they was from LA the way that they played their roles and, like, just did their research. And, like, everybody in this film that came together to put this film together did such an amazing ass job, bro. Like, this is literally one of my favorite movies ever.
Simply credited as Knucklehead number 2 in the film. Lloyd Avery II was born on June 21st, 1969, in the View Park neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. His father, Lloyd Avery Sr., was a self-employed handyman, and his mother, Linda Avery, was a stay-at-home mom. Lloyd attended Beverly Hills High School, where he excelled in water polo and baseball. While attending Beverly Hills High, Lloyd became a good friend with Quincy Jones' son, Quincy Jones III.
Wait, Beverly Hills High, ain't that like in, so that's in Beverly Hills. That's actually like oops, excuse my language, but that's a good high school. That's like a good neighborhood. Beverly Hills? You must have lived in a good neighborhood, right?
Also known as QD3. Lloyd graduated in 1987 and enrolled in LA Trade Tech, but dropped out a few months afterwards. He worked a host of small jobs, but he was more interested in the entertainment industry, which didn't sit well with his father. Lloyd Sr. wanted him to focus on a career while keeping entertainment as a hobby. Lloyd found some early success as a producer on Tisha Campbell's song Push. Around the same time, he landed a major role in the classic film Boys in the Hood. Lloyd played a blood gang member known for toting a double-barrel shotgun, and he would be a part of one of the most iconic scenes in movie history. Shortly after Boys in the Hood, Lloyd landed a role in the 1992 episode of the TV show Doogie Howser MD, where he played a character named Red. John Singleton became fond of Lloyd.
His face card is so lethal. Like, I love how men from the 90s look. Like, they face cards eat down. Like,
Just to make it super clear, I was not talking about John Singleton in this clip. I was still speaking on Lloyd Avery. Just wanted to clear that up, but let's get back to it.
And would even attend fish fries at the Avery home. Singleton went on to cast Lloyd and Lloyd's brother Che in the 1993 film Poetic Justice, starring Tupac Shakur and Janet Jackson. But Singleton and Lloyd's friendship would turn bitter at the film's premiere. After the movie ended, Lloyd stood up in the theater and yelled, "Man, that shit was whack," which upset Singleton. Shortly afterwards, Lloyd's family and friends began noticing changes in his behavior. He became angry and confrontational. Singleton said Lloyd became the role of his Boys in the Hood character. Lloyd began rapping under the name L.A. Deuce, and he also began writing a movie script.
so basically what I'm taking from this is he ain't really even grow up like this. He low-key grew up in the suburbs, was trying to figure out his career path. His parents didn't really want him to do entertainment, but they wanted him to stay in school. He really dropped out to do entertainment. Then he ended up getting into it with the dude who actually put him on originally. And now he's starting to rap, and I guess he's starting to take a different route.
About the streets, but he wanted real life inspiration. So he moved into the Baldwin Village, also known as the Jungles, which is a stronghold of the Black Peastone Bloods.
Bro, that's crazy. You went from Beverly Hills, and now all of a sudden you want to live in the jungle. If y'all don't know what the jungle is in LA, it's a rougher area. It's kind of like it's a rougher area. If you seen Training Day with Denzel Washington, that some of that movie was filmed in the jungle. So
Lloyd shared an apartment with QD3. QD3 recalls Lloyd being in his mid-20s and hanging out with teenage gang members who sent them on crazy missions. In 1996, Lloyd made a cameo in a film that ironically parodied hood movies titled Don't Be a Menace to South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, starring Sean and Marlon Wayans. Lloyd began receiving less and less gigs, and his hot-headed reputation didn't help. Many people that were close to Lloyd think he went off the deep end because he was frustrated that his dreams of being a star wasn't coming true. And if he couldn't be famous, he wanted to be infamous. Lloyd became a part of the jungle to the point of getting the word Jungles tattooed over his eyebrow. In March of 1999, Lloyd was involved in a shootout on Hillcrest Avenue.
yeah, it's crazy because you see this story time and time again where niggas, or excuse my language, where these men just want to be something that they're not. Why do men from the suburbs want to be ghetto so bad, want to be gangsters so bad, want to be with the shit so bad? Like, that always like just bothers me. Like, why do y'all want to be hood so bad? What good could come from being in the streets?
In the jungles. In April of 1999, he was involved in an argument at an Islamic center near the jungles. At around 11:30 that night, Lloyd threw a concrete water meter through the window of the center and a shootout ensued. Lloyd continued to spiral out of control, but after constant conversations with family and friends, he decided to clean up his act. He started distancing himself from the gang and began the process of getting his Jungles tattoo removed. Lloyd fell back into acting and landed a role in the 2000 film Lockdown, starring Master P, Richard T. Jones, Cliff.
And this was a horror movie. Hey, if you seen this movie, you know this was a horror movie. Like, this movie, yo.
Clifton Powell and DeAndre Bonds. Lloyd played a character named Nate. Lloyd wasn't happy with his role as a drug-addicted snitch, and he would go on tirades through the halls voicing his disdain, which made the set very uncomfortable to work on, according to his co-stars. Shortly after rapping Lockdown, Lloyd landed a role in the 2001 film Shot, starring Brandon Carrere and Trent Cameron. Lloyd played a character named G-Rod. The director of the film, Roger Roth, said that Lloyd was a great talent and he nailed his audition, but he went on to say that Lloyd's on-set antics were disappointing. He smoked weed near child actor trailers, he started a fight with the gang, and he even stole a car. Lloyd told Roth that he was having a hard time being recognized. He said some people recognize him from Boys in the Hood, and other people recognize him because they think he may have killed their brothers. Around this time, Lloyd's past caught up with him when LAPD officers chased him down and charged him with the unthinkable. On July 1st, 1999, at around 4 p.m., Lloyd was at a shopping center near the Jungles when he was involved in an argument with a woman named Annette Lewis. Lloyd pulled out a gun and shot Lewis 5 times. He then shot a man named Percy Branch in his arm and in his stomach. Lewis died shortly afterwards, and Branch died a few weeks later on July 23rd. The night before his arrest, Lloyd's brother Che recalls Lloyd acting strange. Che knew Lloyd was in trouble, but he didn't know the specifics. He just knew that detectives had been showing up looking for Lloyd. As the two sat in their grandmother's garage, Che said Lloyd was saying things like, "I had a good life." Che said Lloyd sounded like he wanted to confess something to him, but Che stopped him because he was scared to hear what Lloyd was going to say. Early the next morning, the cops pounced. Helicopters hovered over the residence, and patrol cars began to line the streets. Che saw Lloyd in the kitchen with his bike. Lloyd gave Che a hug and left out the back door. As Lloyd rode down Crescent Heights Boulevard, he made a U-turn and stopped next to a police car and asked the cop, "What's up?" As the cop exited the vehicle, Lloyd took off, but soon afterwards he collided with another police car. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of murder. During the trial, there were a lot of issues with the prosecution's case. The 3 eyewitnesses who identified Lloyd as the shooter all had credibility issues. No murder weapon was recovered, and the bullet cases linking him to the shooting were accidentally destroyed by ballistics examiners. Still, Lloyd was found guilty with the murders of Annette Lewis and Percy Branch and sentenced to life in prison. Lloyd's family and friends were split over the conviction. Some of them thought he was innocent, and some of them believed he was guilty. Che recalled a time when Lloyd showed up to the house, yelling things like he kills people. And when he was told to leave, he replied, "I don't give a fuck, Jungles." Lloyd was sent to Pelican Bay State Prison, which is one of the most dangerous prisons.
Like, a lot of young men could learn from this. A lot of young men, especially that's not from, like, that's more so from the suburbs or the outskirts, that think that y'all want to be ghetto and y'all want to be from the hood and y'all want to do hood shit and hang out with gangs and do all of that. Like, a lot of y'all can actually learn from this. Like, nothing good comes from hanging out with gangs. Nothing good comes from hanging out in the hood. Nothing good comes from that type of lifestyle. Like, listen to your parents. Like, I don't, like, did y'all remember in the beginning of the video, his father said that he wanted him to stay in school, like, do school first, and then if you want to do entertainment, you can. He just went way off into the deep end, started doing entertainment, thought that he was really his character from Boys in the Hood, transformed into a whole nother person. Like, this is low-key some crazy shit right here.
In America. Che said that Lloyd wanted to go to Pelican Bay because it was the roughest place. Che went on to say that Lloyd had plans on beating his case in retrial, returning to the streets as a convicted murderer, and starting a rap career. Lloyd was granted a retrial, but he was again found guilty in July of 2005. While between trials, people that were close to Lloyd began noticing a change in him. He befriended a chaplain named Dennis Clark at the Los Angeles County Jail and became a born-again Christian. Lloyd stopped cursing and fighting, and he would often call family and friends to check up on them and offer kind words. When Lloyd returned to Pelican Bay after losing his retrial, he led prayer services and tried spreading the gospel to his cellmate, Kevin Roby. But there was a problem. Roby was a Satan worshiper who was on year 17 of 3 life sentences.
My bad, y'all. Our camera cut off. But let's get back to it.
Chaplain Clark, saying that he knows God has him around Roby for a reason, and that he prays Roby gives his life to God. Less than a week later, on Sunday, September 4th, 2005, Lloyd returned to his cell after attending church services. Lloyd laid on his bunk and began speaking his gospel as Roby worshiped near.
This is crazy, bruh. Like, one thing about prison, like, when you go to prison, you in prison with all different kind of people that have committed all different type of crimes. Like, they put him in, like, hold on, let's rewind that part, boy. They put him in there with an inmate so out of pocket, man. Psh.
Services and tried spreading the gospel to his cellmate, Kevin Roby. But there was a problem. Roby was a Satan worshiper who was on.
A Satan worshiper. Imagine going to prison and they put you in a cell with a Satan worshiper. This is the worst possible thing that ever could have happened to him.
Year 17 of 3 life sentences for murder. Lloyd sent the letter to Chaplain Clark saying that he knows God has him around Roby for a reason and that he prays Roby gives his life to God. Less than a week later, on Sunday, September 4th, 2005, Lloyd returned to his cell after attending church services. Lloyd laid on his bunk and began speaking his gospel as Roby worshiped near a pentagram.
And it's just sad because you had so much time to change your life around when you was out. Then you get sentenced to prison, and now all of a sudden you want to find God and go to church and read the Bible and preach spirituality. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But it's like you had so much time to do that, and it's just sad that you waited till you got convicted of murder and went to prison and got sentenced to life in prison before you made that change. Like, that'd be the sad part with a lot of these guys in prison. Like, they don't change their life till they get in prison, till they get sentenced to prison. And it's sad because he has so much talent
that he had drawn on the floor. The two men began to argue over their ideologies, and the argument soon turned violent. After a brutal fight, Roby put Lloyd in a chokehold and strangled him to death.
Hey man, one thing I ain't never doing. If you worship the devil and you already committed all these murders and whatever the case may be, I'm never getting into an argument with you. I'm never getting into an argument with you. I'm never speaking to you. I'm never talking. Like, these people are the craziest people on earth. Like, people that worship Satan and do all that Illuminati shit, like, they're insane, bro. I would never in life get into an argument with them. I would never speak to them. I would never try to throw my beliefs onto them. I would never try to change them. None of that. Them people are insane, bro.
That night, corrections officers performed an inmate count. They reported nothing of the ordinary. The next day, with Lloyd's body still in the cell, Roby wrote a flirtatious letter to one of Lloyd's female friends. Corrections officers performed another inmate count. Again, they reported nothing out of the ordinary. In total, corrections officers performed 11 inmate counts, including standing counts. Each time, they reported nothing out of the ordinary. Lloyd's body wasn't discovered until September 6, 2005. Roby laid Lloyd's body on a pentagram and performed a satanic ritual. At 11:55 a.m., a correction officer entered the cell and witnessed the gruesome scene. Roby was handcuffed and Lloyd's body was taken to the infirmary. CPR was administered for 10 minutes, but Lloyd's body was already decomposing. According to the coroner, Lloyd had a fractured sternum, which could have been caused by the CPR. Lloyd's eyelids were swollen shut, his nose was fractured, and there was an abrasion on his temple. The official cause of death was listed as aspiration of blood. Probable strangulation and a skull fracture were also listed as other conditions. Lloyd was officially pronounced dead at 12:10 p.m. The Avery family was notified of Lloyd's death later that night. Che immediately flew to Pelican Bay looking for answers. Che was allowed to view Lloyd's body, but became suspicious at the funeral home. Che was quoted saying, "I was overpowered by the smell. It took the breath out of me." The mortician told Che that Lloyd had been dead for at least 2 days. The Avery family paid for a private autopsy. Lloyd's cause of death was listed as blunt force trauma, complicated by an aspiration of blood. The report showed that the injury to Lloyd's skull was due to a blow from a flat surface, such as a carpenter's hammer, or an impact on a similar type surface. 2 investigations were launched. The district attorney handled the criminal aspect, and the Inspector General's Bureau investigated administrative misconduct. 8 months later, the Bureau determined that the prison's handling of security issues in the crime scene were poor. Roby confessed to Lloyd's murder and was sent to solitary confinement. The district attorney never filed charges against Roby. He said that Roby is already serving 3 life sentences and is never getting out. He went on to say that if he did file charges,
man, they put him in a cell with somebody who's already serving 3 life sentences. Do you know how bad he don't give a? He don't give a. Do not put me in a cell with somebody who is already serving life and never coming home. They don't give a. Like, they will do anything. Like, oh, this whole situation is so bad. Like,
Roby would get better treatment than the average prisoner. And since this isn't a death penalty case, it wouldn't make sense. The Avery family still had questions. They wanted to know if corrections officers were involved in Lloyd's murder and why were a born-again Christian and the Satanists put in the cell together.
Exactly,
the Avery family sent the request to the Attorney General's office and asked him to investigate Lloyd's murder. The Attorney General has the power to supersede the local district attorney. The Attorney General told the Avery family that they would give the district attorney any discretion over the case, but they would review the case once the district attorney made a decision. Till this day, the case remains at a standstill. Che found the movie script that Lloyd was working on. The script told the story of a character named L.A. Deuce and details his experiences on the streets and in jail. The script was titled Jungles. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, that was a good story, man. If I took anything away from this, listen to your parents. I mean, stay away from that type of lifestyle, like, especially if you're not from that. Like, it's one thing to be from that and be heavily influenced about everything that you see around you, but it's a completely different thing when you don't even grow up around that, and then you all of a sudden want to go be in that atmosphere just because you filmed a movie and you like the role that you played, or you like the attention that you got from the role that you played. Like, that is just sad. He had a lot of potential. He was very talented. He was very handsome, you know. His face card was eaten down, obviously. But, you know, that's a sad story. Rest in peace to him. And yeah, that's going to be the end of this reaction, y'all.